The trainer gives a familiar signal. A dolphin takes the object and turns toward the pool edge. The object is the same, the signal is the same, the reward is still waiting, but now the trainer has closed their eyes. Does the dolphin bring the object back in the same way? That small change is harder for a dolphin to read than it is for us. Its eyes sit on the sides of its head. To check a person, it may need to turn its body through the water. Yet in a trained setting, that visible check can change what happens next. 8 trained bottlenose dolphins took part in an object retrieval task. A trainer gave a command, and the dolphin had to carry an object back across the pool. Across different trials, the command and task stayed familiar. What changed was the trainer's visible attention. Sometimes the trainer faced the dolphin with eyes open. Sometimes the trainer faced sideways. Sometimes the trainer still faced the dolphin but closed their eyes. Sometimes the trainer turned away completely. The measure was simple. How long did it take the dolphin to bring the object back? If the command alone mattered, the return time should have stayed much the same. If the dolphin treated the trainer's attention as part of the situation, the timing should shift when that attention became less visible. It shifted. The dolphins were slower when the trainer's head and eyes signaled low attention. They took longer when the trainer was not looking than when the trainer's eyes were open. They were also slower when the trainer's eyes were closed, even though the face still pointed toward them. That eyes closed contrast is the most revealing part. The body still says the same thing. The trainer is still in front of the dolphin, but the eyes are no longer available as a cue. For a dolphin, a face pointed in its direction was not always enough. Whether the eyes could see it also changed the response. That does not mean the dolphin was working out the trainer's private thoughts. The task cannot show that. It does show a narrower result. In this trained pool setting, the dolphins behaved differently when a human looked available, less available, or unavailable. That distinction matters because a head turn and closed eyes can both look like one broad signal to us. They are not the same signal. A turned head changes where the whole body seems to be directed. Closed eyes leave the body in place but remove one part of visible attention. The dolphins responded to both. The result also fits earlier work with trained dolphins and human gestures. In 2 object tasks, dolphins could use a person's pointing and head direction to work out which object the person meant, but those studies came with limits. Some dolphins used broad cues, such as head direction, more reliably than a cue from the eyes alone. Position, training history, and the details of the task could all change the result. So the evidence does not say that every human glance carries the same meaning to every dolphin. It says that dolphins with repeated experience around people can learn that visual cues help define a shared task. Another small study makes the social part easier to see. Dolphins were given an object problem they could not solve. When the human who had given the command faced them, several dolphins looked back and forth between the person and the stuck object. When that person turned away, those gaze shifts became less common. That pattern is preliminary, and the sample was small. A gaze shift is not a spoken request, but the contrast still matters. When the person looked available, the dolphins were more likely to bring their attention back to that person and the problem. When the person turned away, that route of communication changed. Repeated contact may matter here too. In a separate captive study, familiar humans affected how long dolphins stayed nearby and which eye they used while glancing at a person. That does not turn every familiar person into a friend. It shows that past interactions can become part of what the animal notices. The direct evidence remains the retrieval task. A familiar command did not produce one fixed response. The dolphin also had to read the human standing at the other end of the exchange. That is why the limit belongs beside the finding. These were captive bottlenose dolphins with extensive training in human contact. The task was built around a familiar command in a human care setting. It does not tell us how wild dolphins interpret a person on a boat or a swimmer in open water. It does not prove that dolphins understand a human intention in the way another person might. But the narrower result is still important. The pool, object, command, and reward can remain constant. Close the trainer's eyes or turn the trainer away, and the dolphin's timing changes. The human is not just part of the background. The human's visible attention is part of the cue. At the pool edge, that changes the quiet moment after the signal. The dolphin has the object. It knows the routine. Before it finishes, it checks whether the person is still there to receive what comes next. When the eyes close or the face turns away, the same command no longer carries quite the same conditions.